Let's get a little dark today. Today's quote is going to be, "Suffer now to live your best life as a champion later." Suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. So why are we getting dark here? We're getting dark because we're talking about suffering. No one wants to talk about suffering, but I feel like a lot of people are suffering. I feel like I'm suffering on a daily basis. And every time I go to a self-help or self-actualization seminar or something related to making myself a better person, one of the themes I see is that a lot of people are suffering in life. So, but are they suffering needlessly? I mean, are you suffering now because you're working on building something bigger later? Are you suffering now because you're trying to do something incredible? Or are you just suffering with no end in sight? In which case you're suffering now and you will not live as a champion later. That is not cool. Really what you need to do is you need to suffer with purpose. For example, working more now to save some money to build that business you want to start later, or working hard now and using that as motivation to build something bigger later, or developing self-discipline. Let's flip it around. Let's say you're working out at the gym a lot, working hard now so you can look like a champion later. Okay, I can see that. You work really hard today, and then later on, because you worked out so hard, now your body looks better. Now you achieved the goal, and now you can look like a champion. Suffer now to live your best life as a champion. It doesn't say suffer now and suffer later. It doesn't say suffer with no purpose. It doesn't say suffer forever, which I think a lot of people do. Raise your hand if you've been suffering for more than a year, more than a decade, your entire life. Raise your hand if you've never not suffered. Think about that. If you're 40 years old, you suffered 40 years and you do not feel like a champion, you're just suffering. It's terrible. Suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. Not suffer for the entire life until you die. And then maybe, if you're lucky, realizing how stupid it was to suffer for the last couple of seconds of your life, praying that you get another chance, but not even finishing that prayer because you're dead. Suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. Not suffer for infinity, or suffer for the rest of your life, or suffer with no purpose. That would be terrible. So, suffer now to live your best life as a champion. Well, the point of suffering, there has to be some kind of point of suffering. Why are you suffering? Are you suffering with no purpose, no meaning? You're just suffering for the hell of it? But what's the point of that? I mean, if you're suffering and nothing's coming out of it, then you're just suffering. If you're going to suffer and then that'll turn you into a champion or someone better later, now you're doing something. I'm impressed. Suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. Let's look at the second part of that quote. Champion. What does championship look like to you? I want you to go ahead and close your eyes and go ahead and imagine, what do you look like as a champion? What do you see? What do you hear? Who's around you? What do you feel? Make those pictures bright. Make them big. Really resonate, really feel. What is it like to be a champion? Are you suffering now so you can be a champion later? If not, why are you suffering? You might as well be happy. No point in suffering if nothing's going to come out of it. Suffer now to be a champion later. It's powerful. Powerful because you're given something up in the present in order to gain something bigger in the future. Not give up something in the present so that when you get to the future, you realize that you continue needing to give up stuff. And you gave up a lot of stuff in the past too. That sounds pretty terrible to me. Not sure I want to live like that. Do you want to live like that? Are you living like that right now? Suffer now, and then suffer later. Well, that's not the quote. It's suffer now to live like a champion later. And if you don't see that, you have a vision board or you have something where you see yourself as that champion later, then what are you doing? Why are you suffering? You're suffering fulfilling some kind of purpose, or is it fulfilling no purpose? Are you suffering for no reason? Well, that would be pretty terrible if you ask me. Suffering without a reason, just suffering for the heck of it with no point, no purpose. Suffer now, suffer later, suffer forever. I don't think that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. Give something up now. Give up that TV. Give up those immediate pleasures. Give up that fast food and junk food. But know that it's going to make you a champion later. Not doing it for no reason. In fact, think of it like suffering a little bit now, but getting a lot later. I like that. Suffer now, but are in champion state later. At least then you're working for something. I mean, what's the point if all you're doing is suffering and nothing comes out of it? That sounds like a terrible deal to me. Suffer now. Be a champion later. It's deep. But it's deep because you really want to think about it. Like, if you're suffering today, what is the point? Are you trying to become a champion later? If you're suffering have some kind of purpose? Are you suffering because you're some kind of crazy masochist who likes the pain? Yeah, if that's the case, you're in the right place. Go ahead and keep suffering. But you're not going to get that champion state later. You're just suffering because you like to suffer. Which is cool. That's cool. Do you. Do what you got to do. But today's quote is suffer now. Be a champion later. Suffer now. Live your best life later. Suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. Not, let's go ahead and suffer for the rest of our lives with no purpose, no point, no reason, and because I like pain and I'm a masochist and I'm crazy. A lot of people out there, raise your hand if you resonate with that. You're suffering. You're suffering for no reason. You're just suffering because you like to suffer. Now, if there's no purpose to your suffering, you're wasting your time. Suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. Suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. Otherwise, you are just wasting your time suffering for no reason, and that's not cool. That's not cool. Suffer now. Suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. Suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. Don't forget that champion later part. Suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. It's kind of like suffer now to live your best life as a champion later. Suffer now, live your best life as a champion later. Suffer now, suffer now, suffer now. Forget the suffering part. Suffer a little bit now. Live your best life as a champion later. If you like those thoughts and want to hear more quotes, go ahead and hit that subscribe button before you keep suffering some more. And let's work toward that champion state together.